What's going on, everybody? Architecture here with my thoughts, my impressions on the operator reveal for next year, for the next season, Rainbow Six Siege Year 5. But first and foremost, before we get things started, congrats to Space Station Gaming, SSG, for winning Invitationals in North America, becoming the champions of Siege. It's a big deal. And it's a big deal for more reasons than just being champions of Siege. It's a big deal because, for the longest time, it seemed like EU just had a stranglehold on R6. It seemed like EU was just an unbeatable force. And it seemed like, EU just could not be caught up to. With G2, with Empire, G2 just dominated R6 for so long. And then you finally get to see, when it came to this invitational, that, EU started to slip. And people had the thought process is like, is EU getting worse, or did the rest of the world catch up? And the rest of the world has caught up. EU didn't get worse. G2 is still G2. Empire is still Empire. But the rest of the world has caught up. And North America has caught up, and they showed that by winning the Invitational, becoming the champions of Siege again. It's been a long time since America had a champion for Siege. And the icing on the cake is the man himself, Canadian Troy, being a two-timer. There's so few people in Siege who are two-time champions. Those people who are two-time champions are all in G2. Troy is now the first person who's not in G2 who's a two-time champion. Bosco is now a champion for both Xbox Pro League, Xbox Invitationals, and for PC Invitationals. No one else has that stat to their name. But when it comes to Troy, he was part of EVO Genesis. EVO Genesis started to slide and look like a mess. They got rid of Troy. Troy went to SSG. SSG, they elevated to the top. While EVO Genesis just kept sliding down. They got worse and worse and worse. So congrats to SSG on being the champions of Siege. But getting into today's video, talking about the next season, the next year of R6, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of discussions going on. People are complaining about the usual things, like there's going to be even less operators for the next two years. There's going to be even less map variety in terms of new maps. There's going to be even less new weapons. It's the common thing that comes around when it comes to Siege. And when it comes to that, here's my thought about it. When you have a certain number of guns in your game, it makes balancing things hard. And when it comes to balancing, there's time that needs to go into balancing. So if you add in 4 new guns, that's 4 new guns to balance every season. And when it comes to like mid-season patches, so that's 4 new guns to add to the guns that are already in the game. When it comes to there being less operators added to the game's getting closer and closer to the end. As much as we as fans of the game don't want to see that happen, it is getting close to that point. It's getting to a point where Siege isn't going to be Siege forever. There's going to be a Siege 2. There's going to be a Siege 3. There's going to be a Siege that comes out for the PS5 and the Xbox the Xbox Series X. See how hard it is to say that fucking name? It needs a new name. So as Ubisoft's goal was to have 100 operators. That's 50 per side. 50 for defense, 50 for attack. When you get closer and closer to that number of 100, you're going to have less and less operators to add to the game. So it makes sense from my standpoint that they will go from from what it used to be to 2 to just 1. So I don't see it as a huge deal. When it comes to the maps, the game has a lot of maps, and a lot of those maps aren't even in the ranked pool because they're not playable. They're not good maps. They're terrible. So they have to recreate maps. They have to rework maps, and so it makes more sense to me to just remake the maps that are already in game that aren't being played than adding a brand new map that might face the exact same flaws as those old maps. So we're getting Oregon's getting a remake, House is getting remade, Skyscraper's getting remade, and Shillet's getting remade. Those are 4 maps that need a remake badly. It's not just about we need new maps. It's about those are 4 maps that have been in this game for a long time that just are dull or boring or uninteresting or just bad outright, like Skyscraper. Skyscraper is just not a good map. It's kind of like Tower. Tower just shouldn't even exist. It's that bad of a map. But Skyscraper is it's a map to where it was a decent map enough where you could play on it, but you hated seeing it. It's kind of like with Chalet. Chalet's a boring, dull map where you just like, I don't want to go to Chalet where you're doing this exact same attack style and defense style that you've been doing since freaking the game first came out. You know, they're going to go Snowmobile Garage. Let's just Thatcher and thermite the walls. Blah 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 blah. Now it's time to go kitchen. Now it's time to go freaking, upstairs to the bed or be ballsy and do bar. And House has been unplayable since the game came out. House has always been one of the worst maps in Siege because it's just a terribly designed map for bomb and for secure area. There's just rooms on the map where it's just like, why is this even the thing? What chance do you have of even trying to defend this? Oregon is in the same ballpark as Chalet, where it's just like, this is a boring, dull map that has the exact same play that it has had since the beginning of the game's freaking launch. So those maps need to be remastered, remade, and doing that, is just a smart idea, because you get to breathe life into the game with maps that are already there, with assets that are already there. Now, yeah, it'd be nice to see new maps, but let's be honest, when it comes to new maps in Siege, they haven't been that good. Look at Outback. Outback was not a good map. Tower wasn't a good map. Skyscraper is getting remastered because it's not a good map. So, Siege, Ubisoft has not been doing a good job at new maps, but they have done a good job at remaking maps. Yes, Hereford didn't turn out right, but the other maps that has been touched up, Cafe, Clubhouse, those maps are better. They're better now than they were before. So only thing that can come from them remastering these maps is good things. So let's talk about the new operators, Oryx and Iana. I feel like both these operators are very, very different from what we're used to in Siege. For the longest time, the Siege community has viewed the new operators as weaknesses. A lot of them haven't been, as good as fans want them to be. And I kind of view that from the standpoint of a casual Siege player versus a hardcore player. You can kind of tell who's a silver, a gold, a plat, or a diamond, or a champion based on their opinions of the last few operators who added to the game. To pros, Goyo is a great operator, but to people who play rank, Goyo's kind of trash. You don't really see pros play Amaru much often, but you'll see people who play rank play Amaru. A lot of people who play ranked Siege, they view Nock as a useless trash operator. But if you watch Pro League, you'll see her being used in a way was like, holy shit, she's good. So based on the skill level of the people who you're asking, you can see operators being viewed as bad or good based on that. We don't fully understand how good Kali and Womai are yet because the pros haven't used them yet. I've played both those characters and I feel like Kali is a super good operator. I feel like she's super good and she's super useful, especially when it comes to a Thatcher ban. If Thatcher is banned, bring in Kali. I've gotten a lot of 3Ks with Kali, and it's more so because she's super easy to use. That's the first thing. But once you're done, doing what you need to do, which is taking out bandit wires or Kai charges, now you can be aggressive. You can snipe those people who are trying to spawn peek. You can snipe those who are trying to get cheesy kills. It's like you're playing on console and you're trying to take out the garage walls, and there's a doc who's on the admin offices. You can play Kali, pop him in the head to get back to your job, and then when you're done with that, you can switch to her secondary and actually be aggressive. And so when it comes to Oryx and Iana, I feel like Ubisoft's trying to be more aggressive. And when it comes to they want to slow Siege down, at the same time, but be more aggressive. Iana is or Ayana, I guess probably how you pronounce her name. It's probably she's the slowed down version of Siege. She's the more passive version of Siege. She's basically a human drone. She sends in a decoy, a hologram of herself that you the player control, and you use her as a human drone. Essentially, as a human drone, she walks around, she looks at things, she scouts things out. Then you have Oryx, who he's aggressive. He runs through walls. He can jump over hatches. Like these operators, Ubisoft is getting very creative with these operators. My overall thought on these two, Oryx is crazy. He could run through soft walls and run into shield ops, knocking them down, like kind of like how Nomad's her gadget works, her air jabs. When you get hit by a Nomad air jab, you get floored. So when Oryx runs into people, he, especially shield operators, he just knocks them down like a big ass tank, and he just runs right through walls, soft walls, making holes and making big ass holes in them for other people to just walk through easily. And but at the same time, he does take tank damage when he runs through a wall. Again, as I mentioned before, he could also jump up an open hatch. And he comes with a shotgun, so you can open a hatch yourself. You can be somewhere, use your shotgun to open a hatch, jump up that, and now you have a new area to go through with Oryx. He's the perfect roamer because he can do things like that. He could run through a wall, or he can just hop up a hatch. Now, think about a play where, say, Valkyrie or Echo or even Mozzie, they're using their gadgets, their drones, their eyes, and they tell you that someone's located somewhere that you can only get to if you roam all the way around the map and go up a hatch. And now you just like perfectly flanked the enemy team, and you're getting maybe all the kills, maybe 2 or 3 kills, and then you die. Iana, she creates holograms. You control the hologram, but they don't do damage. She's like a walking prism with alibi without the spider mechanic. She can be countered with mute jammer, shock wire, barbed wire, and just shooting at it is also a counter. She can't move herself when she uses a hologram. So when you use her hologram, you kind of want to be somewhere safe. You kind of want to be somewhere where your teammates can watch over you, or be outside the OBJ, be outside the site at least. In somewhere where someone who spawn piece can't see you, or someone just run out can't see you. Then use her gadget. You don't want to be out in the open doing it. And it's not necessary for her to move to begin with, because you, the hologram, you're controlling that hologram. It's not like you just send a hologram in and just stands around and things like that. You control that hologram. You are that hologram. You, the player, are controlling that hologram, moving around, going upstairs, going downstairs, going through open walls and things like that. So overall, I feel like Ubisoft has done a good job when it comes to these new operators. I feel like they're gonna be very interesting. I feel like they're interesting in 2 different ways. One being aggressive, one being more passive, and using more map knowledge to your advantage. And it's also a show that Ubisoft is listening. People like GitFlink, people like Zeronic and Intero, a lot of the pros have been talking about how Siege has been very, very gun heavy. How Siege has become more about getting kills and less about gadgets. And these 2 operators are 2 people who have very, very obvious gadgets, and those gadgets make them strong. Not their guns, their gadget make them strong. So Ubisoft listening. They're like, all right, you feel like the gadgets are not strong enough, and the guns are overtaking the game. Well, here's 2 operators who literally are strong as hell because of their gadget, not because of their gun. Iana can be a huge problem, because if you're someone with massive amount of map knowledge, someone who's good at callouts, you can use her and get so much utility out of just her holograms. And you're just sending them in and just calling things out to your teammates the way you see it. You're literally a human drone. You can go where a drone can go. When it comes to Oryx, you're the perfect roamer. Your gadget makes you the perfect roamer. But anyways, guys, this video has been a long enough video. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a good day. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.